Commander Fiona Blackwood stared at the holographic display, her coffee growing cold beside her. The liquid inside the mug was bitter and stale, typical for the 3 a.m. shift at Chimera Mountain Observation Complex. But caffeine quality was the least of her concerns now. "Confirm those readings, Lieutenant Parker," she ordered, keeping her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her system. "Confirmed, Commander. Multiple objects decelerating from FTL at the edge of Neptune's orbit. Formation is too precise to be natural. We're looking at approximately 73 spacecraft of varying sizes." Blackwood set down her mug. 6 months ago, the discovery of an alien transmission had changed everything. Humanity had listened to the stars for decades, hoping for contact. What they'd intercepted instead was a tactical communication not meant for human ears. The Concordat Empire was expanding, and Earth was on their list of acquisition targets. "Alert General Okafor. Tell him contingency silent shield is now active." The young lieutenant nodded, fingers flying across his console. Blackwood turned back to the display, watching as the alien armada approached with methodical precision. Humanity had known this day would come ever since they'd intercepted those transmissions. The question had never been if but when. Her secure comm unit buzzed. "Blackwood," she answered. "Commander Okafor here, I'm viewing the feed. The Concordat has arrived sooner than our projections." "Yes, sir, they'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours at current velocity." "And our preparations?" Blackwood glanced at the status indicators on her screen. "Operation Phantom is ready. Defense networks A through D are calibrated and waiting. Project Lazarus remains on standby." "Good, it seems our intercepted translations were accurate. The Concordat doesn't negotiate with pre-FTL civilizations. They subjugate them." Blackwood's jaw tightened. "Then we'd better convince them we're not pre-FTL." 6 hours later, Blackwood stood in the underground war room of Earth Defense Command. Representatives from 30 nations sat around a circular table, faces grim as they viewed the approaching fleet. Dr. Wesley Hammond, lead scientist of Project Lazarus, stepped forward. His lanky frame and disheveled appearance belied one of the sharpest minds on the planet. "The Archon artifacts are functioning exactly as we hoped," he reported, gesturing to the technical displays. "All 7 sites are now fully activated and synchronized." "In English, please, Doctor," prompted Secretary General Ito. Hammond pushed his glasses up his nose. "Put simply, we're projecting a shell of artificial signals around Earth that mimic highly advanced technology. Energy signatures, gravitic distortions, quantum fluctuations, all the hallmarks of a civilization far beyond our actual capabilities." "Will they believe it?" asked the Russian representative. Blackwood stepped forward. "They'll have to, because we've added some visual elements to sell the deception." She nodded to the communications officer, who activated a display showing Earth's orbit. 5 sleek black vessels seemingly appeared from nowhere, moving with impossible speed and precision. "These aren't real, of course," Blackwood explained. "They're advanced drones with experimental metamaterial hulls designed to appear vastly more sophisticated than they are. Their movements are controlled by AI systems extrapolating what advanced ships might look like. Behind them, we've got conventional forces ready with the best weapons we actually possess." "A bluff," Secretary General Ito said flatly. "We're betting our planet on a bluff." "A calculated deception," Blackwood corrected. "The Archon artifacts we discovered beneath the Pacific and Antarctic weren't weapons as we initially thought. They're a defense system designed to create the illusion of technological superiority." Dr. Hammond cleared his throat. "Based on our analysis of the Concordat communications, they're methodical colonizers. They don't waste resources fighting unnecessary battles. If they believe we have superior technology, protocol dictates they'll withdraw and reassess." "And if they call our bluff?" asked the Chinese general. Blackwood's expression hardened. "Then we fight with everything we actually have." 48 hours later, Commander Blackwood stood in the observation deck as the Concordat fleet entered Earth orbit. Their vessels were massive constructions of metal and energy, dwarfing anything humanity had built. The largest resembled a sharpened spear, nearly 2 kilometers long. "They're scanning us," reported Lieutenant Parker through her earpiece. "Archon artifacts are responding by feeding them false data." "Maintain drone formations," Blackwood ordered. "Keep them visible but distant." The command center fell silent as a transmission was detected. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Commander. Translators are processing." Moments later, a voice filled the command center, artificial and flat, as the translation software converted alien language to English. Civilization of the Third Planet. This is High Commander Verk of the Concordat Empire. Your world is now under Concordat authority. We have detected your primitive global network and defense systems. To demonstrate our power, we will eliminate one urban center. Prepare for integration into the Concordat hierarchy. Blackwood's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. Activate Phase 2. Outside, the Concordat flagship fired a brilliant beam of energy toward Tokyo. As it entered the atmosphere, it collided with an invisible barrier, dispersing in a spectacular display of light that caused no damage. Shield performance nominal, Dr. Hammond reported with audible relief. The Arkan gravitational lens redirected their energy weapon exactly as predicted. Open a channel, Blackwood ordered. When the connection was established, she spoke clearly and calmly. Concordat vessel, this is Commander Fiona Blackwood of Earth Defense Command. We appreciate the light show. Next time, please coordinate with us so we can set it to music. There was a long pause before the alien voice returned, noticeably less confident. Impossible. Our scans indicated primitive defensive capabilities. Your scans detected what we allowed them to detect, Blackwood replied. The Concordat isn't the first expansionist empire we've encountered. We prefer peaceful relations, but we are prepared to defend ourselves. Your energy signatures suggest your vessels operate on monopolar quantum fusion, rather outdated but functional. The lie rolled smoothly off her tongue, a carefully crafted deception based on theoretical technology that Earth scientists could barely conceptualize, let alone create. The silence stretched longer this time. Our drones are in position, whispered Lieutenant Parker. Blackwood nodded. High Commander Verk, perhaps you'd like to witness a small demonstration of our capabilities. At her signal, the 5 drone ships executed their most impressive maneuver, seemingly phasing through solid matter as they passed through one another, an illusion created by perfectly timed holographic projections and the metamaterial hulls. The communication channel remained silent for several minutes. When Verk's voice returned, it carried a markedly different tone. Earth Command, the Concordat recognizes your technological sovereignty. We withdraw our integration directive and propose diplomatic exchange at a neutral location. As the massive alien fleet began a slow retreat from Earth orbit, the command center erupted in cheers. Blackwood allowed herself a small smile, but her eyes remained fixed on the departing ships. It worked, Dr. Hammond said, appearing beside her. They believed our deception. For now, Blackwood replied, but deceptions have a way of unraveling, and when this one does, we'd better have something real to back it up. In the darkness of space, aboard the Concordat flagship, High Commander Verk was having a private conversation with his science officer. Something isn't right, the science officer said. The energy readings don't align with their technology. Verk nodded slowly. Continue monitoring from a distance. Earth is hiding something, and I intend to discover what it is. Admiral Genek of the Concordat Empire stared at his reflection in the viewport of his personal quarters. 3 cycles had passed since the humiliating retreat from Earth, and the memory still burned like acid in his 4-chambered heart. High Commander Verk had been summarily replaced, a polite euphemism for execution, and Genek had been elevated to oversee the ongoing Earth observation mission. Impossible technology, he muttered, reviewing the sensor logs for the 1000th time. The smooth gray skin around his eyes crinkled in concentration as he studied the human ship's movements. No propulsion signatures, no energy wakes, they moved as if space itself bent to their will. His meditation was interrupted by a soft chime. Enter, he commanded. Science Director Tulla glided into the room, her ceremonial robes flowing around her slender frame. Unlike most Concordat officers with their militaristic bearing, Tulla embraced the scientific tradition of their species' ancient past. Admiral, our deep space sensors have detected something unusual, she reported, her voice melodic but concerned. Another human technological demonstration, Genek asked wearily. No, another fleet approaching the human system. Morphological signatures match the Veridian Collective. Genek's head snapped up. The Collective, they haven't expanded beyond their territorial boundaries in 300 cycles. Nevertheless, they approach Earth with what appears to be a diplomatic contingent. Genek paced the room, his ceremonial blade clicking against his thigh armor. First, the humans demonstrate technology beyond our understanding, and now the reclusive Veridians suddenly take interest in a backwater system. There's more, Tulla said, her voice dropping. The Supreme Concordat has transmitted new orders. We are to establish formal diplomatic contact with Earth immediately. Diplomatic contact with a species we were prepared to subjugate mere cycles ago, Janek laughed bitterly. How quickly policy changes when conquest seems impractical. You've been appointed as ambassador, Tulla added. Janek stared at her. I'm a military officer, not a diplomat. Perhaps that's precisely why you were chosen. The Supreme Concordat believes the humans will respect military directness over diplomatic obfuscation. Janek turned back to the viewport, watching the distant blue planet that had defied Concordat expectations. Or perhaps I'm being set up to fail where Verk already has. Commander Fiona Blackwood stood in the newly established lunar diplomatic facility, watching Earth rise over the crater's edge. The hastily constructed base represented humanity's first permanent extraterrestrial diplomatic outpost, a necessity born from the sudden attention Earth was receiving. Beautiful view, Dr. Hammond commented, joining her at the viewport. Though I'd prefer enjoying it without the imminent arrival of alien diplomats who could see through our deception at any moment. Always the optimist, Wesley, Blackwood replied with a tight smile. What's the status of the Arkan artifacts? Hammond's expression grew troubled. That's what I came to discuss. The artifacts are evolving. Evolving their machines. That's what we thought. Hammond pulled up data on his tablet. The energy signatures are changing, becoming more complex. They're responding to the presence of the alien fleets in ways we didn't program. Is the defense system failing? Blackwood asked sharply. No, quite the opposite. It's becoming more sophisticated, more convincing, almost as if. As if what? Hammond hesitated. As if they were designed to do exactly what's happening now. Protect Earth by creating increasingly convincing technological illusions as needed. Blackwood's reply was interrupted by the facility's alert system. Commander, the Concordat shuttle is on final approach, came Lieutenant Parker's voice over the comm. Time to put on our best diplomatic faces, Blackwood sighed, and pray our technological smoke and mirrors hold up to closer inspection. The lunar diplomatic facility's main chamber had been designed to impress, a challenging task given the rushed construction. Holographic displays showed Earth's advanced defense network, while strategically placed Arkan-enhanced technology gave the impression of capabilities far beyond humanity's reach. Admiral Janek entered flanked by two guards and Science Director Tulla. His tall, imposing figure contrasted with the scientist's graceful bearing. Blackwood noted the ornate blade at his side, a symbol of rank but also a potential threat. Welcome to Earth's lunar diplomatic facility, Blackwood said formally. I'm Commander Fiona Blackwood, Earth Defense Command. Admiral Janek, appointed representative of the Supreme Concordat. His voice was deeper than the translation software had rendered it during their orbital confrontation. This is Science Director Tulla. The introductions completed, they seated themselves around a circular table, a deliberate choice to symbolize equality rather than hierarchy. Let's dispense with pleasantries, Janek began. 3 cycles ago, you demonstrated technology that, by all reasonable analysis, your species should not possess. Blackwood maintained her composure. Perhaps your analysis was flawed. Perhaps, Janek conceded unexpectedly, or perhaps there is more to Earth than meets the eye. He leaned forward. The Veridian Collective approaches your system. Are you aware of this? We have detected their fleet, Blackwood lied smoothly. In truth, Earth's conventional sensors had noticed nothing. And what business do you have with the Collective? Janek pressed. That's not really your concern, Admiral, Blackwood replied coolly. Unless the Concordat is claiming some authority over Earth's diplomatic relations. The tension in the room thickened until Tulla intervened. What the Admiral means is that the Veridians rarely venture outside their territories without specific purpose. Their interest in Earth is noteworthy. We find it equally noteworthy that the Concordat's approach to Earth shifted from conquest to diplomacy so quickly, Dr. Hammond observed. Janek's expression hardened. The Supreme Concordat recognizes the potential for beneficial exchange with technologically advanced civilizations. How pragmatic, Blackwood said dryly. As the diplomatic dance continued, Dr. Hammond surreptitiously monitored the Arkan artifacts through his tablet. The energy signatures were fluctuating in patterns he'd never seen before, almost as if they were responding to the presence of the aliens in the room. When the meeting concluded, Janek requested a tour of the facility, an obvious attempt to gather intelligence. Blackwood assigned Lieutenant Parker to guide them, carefully controlling which areas they could access. Your thoughts? Blackwood asked Hammond once they were alone. He suspects something, Hammond replied, but he's not certain enough to risk accusing us outright. And this Veridian Collective, we don't have sensors capable of detecting a fleet at that distance. Hammond's expression grew troubled. That's another concern. The Archon system is feeding us information about the approaching Viridians. It's like it's anticipating threats before our technology can detect them. You're saying the ancient defense system is giving us intelligence. I'm saying we don't fully understand what we've activated, Commander. Later that night, Admiral Jenek met with Tulla in the secure chamber aboard their shuttle. Their technology is inconsistent, Tulla reported. Some aspects suggest advancement far beyond Concordat capabilities, while others are surprisingly primitive. Explained by their recent technological leap, Jenek suggested. Perhaps, but my scans detected energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. They appear to emanate from 7 locations across Earth, creating a network that, she hesitated. Admiral, I believe their advanced capabilities may be artificial. Jenek frowned, explain. The energy signatures behave like a projection, a sophisticated one certainly, but a projection nonetheless. It's as if something is creating the appearance of advanced technology. A planetary-scale deception, Jenek considered the implications. To what end? The most logical conclusion, deterrence. If they can't match our actual technology, creating the illusion of superiority would prevent conquest. Jenek paced the chamber. But such a system, who could have built it, not the humans, they were hurling primitive rockets into orbit less than a century ago. Precisely my question. Whatever creates these projections is ancient, predating human civilization by millennia, according to my estimates. The Admiral stopped packing. You're suggesting Earth harbors technology from another species, a precursor civilization. It's the only explanation that fits the evidence. Jenek stared out at the lunar landscape, Earth hanging in the black sky beyond. Then the true question becomes, do the humans control this ancient system or does it control them? Outside the facility, unbeknownst to either humans or Concordat visitors, the lunar regolith shifted slightly as something ancient stirred beneath the surface. A dormant node of the Archon network, buried for millions of years, activated in response to the electromagnetic signatures of the alien shuttle. Deep in the facility, Dr. Hammond's tablet chimed with an alert. New energy readings appeared, not from the known Archon artifacts, but from somewhere nearby. The message on his screen was clear: Defense Network EXPNDING, Precursor Protocol initiating. Commander, Hammond called urgently to Blackwood. I think our deception just became something else entirely. In the vastness of space, the Viridian fleet continued its approach, led by Arbiter Talsic, whose species had once been guides to the galaxy's younger races. Her ancient eyes studied the reports of Earth with growing interest. After all these eons, she whispered to herself, the Guardian's final contingency has awakened. The game begins anew.